close the distance, boom, boom, and continue my combination on from there. So I know it's super basic, but so important. So guys, this week I've actually been a little bit sick, so rather than training with any partners, I've sort of mostly just been sticking to some footwork drills and just hitting the bag, which has sort of brought me back to really analysing like what we're thinking and what we're doing and all the little fundamental principles that we should be thinking about while we're hitting the bag to sort of get the most out of it. Now, being that a bag doesn't hit back, we can fall into some bad habits. One of them being standing too close before we start our combination, right? So it is very easy, like I said, because it doesn't hit back, I can sort of get to here and then begin hitting my combination and just kind of staying at that range there. Because, because the bag's not hitting back, I don't get reminded that I'm in punching range. Now, if you wanted to work on fighting in close, that's a different thing. And yeah, you'd be super aware of it and doing all your little defensive measures to indicate that, to burn in the pattern that you'd be using if you were that close, rather than just being here and lazily hitting the bag just because you're not doing it mindlessly. So what I've been using is like a mark, and it just turns out that this little line here works out perfectly. So I'm obviously not close enough to just land on the bag. So I'd sort of been practicing using my movement to, as I throw the first strike, close the distance, boom, boom, and continue my combination on from there. So I know it's super basic, but so important, because I was watching some of our guys doing some drills and sparring earlier on, and they were just struggling to close that range because they just hadn't been thinking about this. It's sort of like having to come in and either they'd step in and their opponent would step back, or they'd step in and they get jabbed before they even got a chance to fire their combination off. So if you were thinking about practicing this at home, I really recommend you sort of see where you can hit the bag, go, all right, what's a distance that I'm comfortable closing? Now, if you do too far away, it becomes very unrealistic, where you end up trying to cover too much distance. You would never get that. You'd never be able to close the distance in time without an opponent reading it, right? So it needs to be this happy medium. Too close, you're going to be in a range where they can hit you before you get to land your combination. Too far, you're never going to close the distance in time, right? So it's got to be that, like, and it's, you're going to have to play with it. It's got to be that happy medium. This just happens to work out to be quite a good range, whether I'm southpaw or orthodox, sort of towing that line, and then when I'm ready, then coming back out to that range again once I'm done. So that's what I've been working on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hope you have a little play with it yourself, because it is a super important concept, not being too close before you start your combo.